Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of I Never Knew Ink, but My Dog Did podcast. I am Maureen Scanlon, your host extraordinaire, author, speaker, and life coach, certified relationship expert. And I love y'all for being here. Holidays are coming up. I'm super excited. I, as usual, have a fabulous guest today. And we were just joking offline because I'm a fan of his last name. So we're gonna have fun today. And my next guest has a wonderful story. Probably not as wonderful to experience it, but wonderful to share with you guys today. His name is Chancellor Jackson, and he was born in Fulton County, Georgia, to Native American parents. He grew up in Georgia and attended Stetson University. And he's our football guy. Woo, woo. So for 9 years, he played football at the high school and collegiate level. After graduating with a bachelor's degree in communication and media studies, good choices. I like it. He lived abroad in China from 2018 to 2019. Chancellor fell into writing after his traumatic experience of being arrested and detained in Beijing for 14 days. And his first book, 14 Days in Beijing, has ranked #1 over 15 times on Amazon in multiple genres. So I'm so excited to dive in. Everybody, welcome Chancellor Jackson. Mr. Jackson, if you're nasty, how are you, my friend?
What's going on, Maureen? Blessings and balance to you. Blessings and balance to everyone that's tuning in right now. Appreciate you for having me.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. We're so happy to have you and to have all of our listeners. So as you know, it's I never knew. So it's crazy how we go through these life-changing moments and you're thinking, if only I knew then what I know now. And so bring us to your, I'm calling it the new thing I'm calling it is the knee story, which is the thing that brought you to your knees and initiated the change that became who you are today. So what's your knee story, Chancellor?
Yeah, so like it was stated earlier, I landed my first job teaching English to children in China after I graduated from college. I entered China on October 10th, 2018, and I was supposed to do a year. That's how long my contract was set for. But I was only able to get 6 months before, you know what I'm saying, things hit the fan. But prior to getting locked up, China was the best experience by far, hands down. I highly encourage everybody to travel abroad, of course, but if you can live abroad someplace else, please do. Definitely do it. You'll learn so much about yourself and life in general. And definitely just don't choose any random place. Go someplace you've always been fond of, you've always been interested in. In the introduction of my book, I flash back to a table conversation I'm having with my mother and my brother at breakfast one morning, Saturday morning, and she asked me and him, like, what's the 3 places in the world y'all want to go? I'll make sure that we go. I instantly said, China. And she just curious, like, you know what I'm saying, me being so young and so confident in my answer, like, why China? Why out of all places, why China? And the only logical reason I had at that young age was that's where everything is made. That's it. That's all I know. That's it. You look at the bag of product, any product made in China, made in China, made in China. I'm like, hey, bro, America's supposed to be the top dog, the big dog country, but we don't got no product. You know what I'm saying? We buying products from these people, and these folks got all the product. Literally anything you can think of, it's made from over there. So it's like I was always interested in China just from that standpoint. Like I want to go to the land where everything is made. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they're doing something over there that we ain't doing. So and then to, you know what I'm saying, little did I know that table conversation would manifest, and then me going over there and seeing all that China had to offer and seeing the type of time China was on, and then to come back to America, oh yeah, we way behind. China's up, yeah. They on a whole different type of time.
Technology wise, definitely behind. And I love that the perspective was they must have everything in China. Everything in China must be available to us. So I love that you said that. I'm going to go back to what you said about living abroad. I lived in Germany for 4 years and I went there when I was 19. So I went from living in Arizona my whole life to suddenly living in this foreign country. lived there for 4 years, and you're absolutely right. I don't think I'd be who I am today without that experience. You get this bigger view of
Hmm.
there's more to life than just this little neighborhood and this little city that I grew up in, right?
Facts. Exposure is everything. If you only been exposed to a certain amount, how can I expect you to think outside of that?
Yeah, and I agree with traveling being a part of that. If you can't live abroad, at least travel abroad, travel around the world, get a different perspective on other cultures and other people. Like, we are not the end all be it all. Americans seem to think we're the center of the world and universe, but we are not. And yeah. So
Exactly. And a lot of stuff we do here is ass backwards in comparison to the rest of the world. And and you think America isn't the oldest country.
yeah.
On top of that, so it's like for it to be one of the younger countries, and it's like, damn, everything we do here is backwards in comparison to everywhere else. It makes you question a lot of things that you've been taught up until this point. So that's why, man, life is different everywhere you go. So it's like it's no real way to say, okay, the human should live this type of way. You can't say that because everywhere you go, it is drastically different. That's why traveling is so important. You just get
Yeah.
so many different perspectives. So definitely, you know what I'm saying? I live my best life in China. I enjoy the people. People nice, you know what I'm saying? Best customer service I received hands down. I'm talking about these folks go above and beyond, and it's against their culture to tip them. They don't even accept tips, so it's like they just doing their job. That lets you know what type of character that they have. They're very hardworking, disciplined, orderly people. I enjoyed the food, authentic Chinese food like no other. It's Chinese food we got here in America. Ain't talking about nothing in comparison to the real authentic Chinese food. And it's healthy for you too. You know what I'm saying? You don't really see obese people in China just because of how their diet is set up. So the food was absolutely amazing. Of course, I'm there to work and teaching English to children, and I enjoyed that. You know what I'm saying? I'm working with kids. I'm mainly working with the elementary school ages, mainly kindergarten, pre-K to about third grade. That's the main age range I'm working with. So I'm working with the babies. So
Yeah.
most of our lessons are nothing but games essentially just to keep them engaged. So with me playing, having an athletic background, okay, my games gonna consist of athletic movement. I'm gonna see who athletic, and we're gonna run, we're gonna jump, and we're gonna learn at the same time. So definitely we had a blast in class. And then of course I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm in a foreign country, I'm in a whole different world essentially. So exploring Beijing is like no other. It can be the simplest things that we do here every day. Doing it on the other side of the world, a whole different experience. Going to the bank, you would think that is nothing easy if you don't look like the people and you don't speak the language. So you're gonna need it. That's gonna be everything's going to be a challenge, and it forces you to grow patience if you don't have any already. But you got no choice but to be patient because it ain't like
Yeah.
you ain't like you just you know what I'm saying get what you want like that. No, if you can't read this or you can't translate or you can't speak, you got to take you some time out to pull up an app or something. You know what I'm saying? Find your trend. So it forced you to be a lot more patient. Um, so yeah, man, I was living my best life in China. And then on April 4th, 2019, that's when things hit the fan, and I was arrested for possession of. I honestly don't know what my specific charges were because nothing was explained to me. But I know I just got caught with weed, and I was in my apartment getting ready to leave. I'm going to get ready to leave, go to an event. I just got done pre-gaming. I'm getting ready to walk out the door, hear a knock at the door, look through the peephole. It's 3 officers from the Beijing police. Have they shown up to the apartment before randomly? Yes. They do this all the time to foreigners. So I'm just like, okay, this is something that they do routinely. So I'm like, okay, let me put everything up. Open the door. They walk in, question me about drugs. I'm from Atlanta, the city of finesse. You live by the finesse, you die by the finesse. So of course I'm drugs. Nah, what you talking about? Nah, what you been crazy? Passport? Let me go grab a passport. That's probably what you need. So I go grab my documentation, bring it back to the officer to look over. The other 2 officers are just scoping the place out, just walking around gently. You know what I'm saying? They ain't looking into nothing. They got wandering eyes for sure. Time passes. Another officer enters the apartment. He has something in his hand. He hands that item to the officer I was originally speaking to, and that officer tells me to pretty much to pee into the cup. So it was a drug test right there on the spot. I was like, oh yeah, it's over with. It's over with.
Oh
So
my God.
do the
That's
drug test. Hey, it's China. It's China. do the
we
drug
have
test.
we have to be grateful for our freedoms right here, right now, listeners, because we're always talking about, oh, someone's infringing on my privacy and on my rights. Well, try that. They come to your house and they hand you a cup and say pee in it, and you have no choice. That's crazy, man. Oh my God. I'm in. I'm in. Oh my God. So what happened?
So do the drug test. I failed the drug test, of course. Now by this point, it's about 8 officers in the apartment. Now they really rummaging through my things, trying to, you know what I'm saying, they run through my things deeper than my mother ever would. And one officer in particular speaks English fluently. So he's questioning me about failing the drug test. When was the last time I smoked? Who I get the weed from? You know what I'm saying? Just trying to see if I'm going to give any extra information in regards to a supplier or source. But like I said earlier, I'm from Atlanta, the city of finesse. You live by the finesse, you die by the finesse. So me and him just going back and forth. I'm just shooting the shit with him. Anything he asked me, the first thing that come to my mind, I'm just blurting out. It got to the point where I was catching myself lie. So I knew he was catching me lying, but I'm from the city of finesse. You live by finesse, you die by finesse. So I'm just sitting there trying to finesse the situation, just hanging on to the hope that they don't come across the rest of my stash. Right. So we going back and forth. So then once he realized I wasn't going to give him anything he could work with, he made it clear, evident, all right, bro, the charade is up. You're caught red-handed. We know you have more on you. You know what I'm saying? It's over with. Now it's just chills, just, you know what I'm saying, running through my body. I'm just like, damn, it's over with. It's been over with, but you know what I'm saying? I died by the finesse. It is what it is. I live to finesse another day. Now I have to hold myself accountable. You know what I'm saying? So I fessed up to it. They wanted me to show them the rest of my stash. So I get up to show them where I put my stash. But lo and behold, once I got there, everything is discovered. It's on display. They was just trying to trick me, trying to see if I was going to give up any extra information. So they confiscated everything, throw the cups on me, escort me out of the apartment, and sat me down into a police van. And now I'm just sitting there reflecting, like, damn, I'm still high too. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but this is crazy. This is happening. I don't know how this thing finna play out, but I'm finna find out soon. So just sit tight. Sit tight.
Buzzkill. What a buzzkill for your last high for 14 days too. They like totally killed your vibe, right?
Man, I'm just so in the moment. Like I ain't panicking, I ain't nervous. I'm really curious. Like, bro, how is this gonna play out? Like this, all right. I can't wait. I'm really curious to see how this plays out because I'm like, so we get in the van. I'm sitting there. 2 officers hop in the van with me, and then we riding. Now, from this point on, all forms of communication cease to exist. You know what I'm saying? So we get to one precinct, and it's a typical like scene you would see on any TV show or movie when they bring in a new arrest and sit them down in the chairs. You got the officers on desk duty. It's that scene, but the Chinese version. So just picture that in your head. So here I am in this holding. I'm sitting down, handcuffed in this chair, last chair in the row. And looking at the officers on desk duty, of course, I'm the only foreigner, only English speaker in the room, so all eyes are on me. But I'm still high as Orion, and I'm just sitting here reflecting on everything. Like, bro, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I know I'm gonna be good when it's all said and done. I told myself, I said, take note of every minor detail because it's gonna be a great story to tell once you're out of this predicament. And 2, most importantly, enjoy this high one last time because we don't know what's going to happen to us, boy. So 30 minutes pass, they come get me, and then we get back in the van. So now I'm like, okay, where are we going? I don't know where we're going now. 30 minutes pass, we arrive at another precinct. This one's bigger, has holding cells. So they have me change clothes into a uniform that's made of just all gray clothes. And then they throw me in a holding cell with about 8 other Chinese men. I'm there for a little minute, then they come get me and take me to do my official interrogation. And this part is dramatic in the book because they take me to the basement of the precinct and into this white room and sit and walk me to this all metal chair that looks like an electric chair. They open it up and like they just looking at me and I'm looking at them. Like, y'all really want me to sit my ass down in this chair? They like, hell yeah. So I sat my ass down. That thing like my shins, thighs, waist, chest, and arms all in one place. The only part of my body I can move was my head. So two officers into the room, and they do the interrogation. But up until this point, I've had plenty of time to come up with a good story to finesse them with. So we do the interrogation. Um, the one officer's asking all the questions, the other officer is transcribing it. So the officer that's transcribing brings the transcription over to me. Everything's written in Mandarin, so I don't know what this thing says, but they say sign it, I sign it. They say thumbprint it, I thumbprint it. They release me from the chair. All right. We get up, take me back upstairs, do my mug shot, handprint, all that, whoop whoop. Now I'm back in the holding cell. All right, so now I'm just sitting there reflecting on everything that's just transpired, wondering if they brought the story or not, reflecting on the events that happened earlier today, like what could I have done better in the heat of, heat of the moment when they first pulled up. I could have did this, I could have did this, oh, I could have said this, I could have, I'm just replaying the whole scenario, just coming up with different alternatives, how it could have played out. But all in all, it don't matter how I would have went about telling the story or trying to finesse it, or again, if I would have flushed the weed, me failing that drug test, I was still gonna be in the same predicament. So I was damned if I did, or damned if I didn't. So then I'm just sitting there reflecting, and then hours and hours passing. My high is finally coming down. I've been high for hours. So it was finally coming down. Now I'm fading in and out of consciousness, and I'm just trying to find a comfortable spot. Mind you, I'm still handcuffed, so I'm just trying to find a comfortable spot, a position to try to catch some Z's in. And every time I wake up, I look at the window in the back of the cell. This is daylight, and the sun started setting until it's still darkness. So they come get me from the cell, and they bring me to the walk me to the lobby and bring my basket clothes. Tell me get dressed. I'm like, hey, look, see, when you compliant, you work with these folks, everything work out in your favor. I'm like, the energy was good. Bet. I throw my clothes on. I'm just waiting on for the next set of orders. So they had me follow them through a door that's behind the front desk. After we enter through this door, now we're in the hallway. At the end of the hallway, I see a room, crowd of officers. So I'm just following the CO to this room, and as I enter this room, I can only assume that this is some form of evidence room, just because I see evidence bags everywhere. No form of organization or structure. It's just look like a hoarded house. Like it's just shit everywhere. So in front of me is the table. On the center of the table is everything that was confiscated from my apartment. And so they take the cannabis and they weigh it up right in front of me. Now I'm gonna pause here because this is a very interesting part of the. Well, really, we're still in chapter 1 when I'm walking y'all through. This is still chapter 1. So this is the very first. This is an interesting part just because one, as a reader, you're curious how much does he actually have on him? You know what I'm saying? How much did he get caught with? And then two, like I said, I ain't received no communication as far as how this process works or what's going to happen next. They telling me orders and I'm just following them. So with that being said, that's the premise throughout the whole book. I don't know. It's a mystery. You don't know how long you're going to be here. I'm just here to tell you I did 14 days. As you read it, you don't know. You don't know. You don't know how long you're going to be there. But with that being said, and me being so spiritual, I receive a lot of signs and messages from the higher powers, my ancestors, the guardian angels, wherever you want to refer to them as, letting me know how long I was going to be in this predicament and how my release process would be. But this is one of the very first signs I received and one of the only live in action signs that I received. Everything else occurred in my dreams. So they weighed the weed up right in front of me, and the total is out to be 1.4 grams. Now, for those that partake in cannabis, 1.4 grams isn't a lot. If you don't partake in cannabis, we're talking units of measurement. 1.4 grams of anything isn't a lot. So I didn't have much on me. But you look at that number, 1.4. If you remove that point, what number do you get?
14.
Hence the title of the book. Now, did I catch that initially? Hell no. Nah. That thing went clean over my head. But it wasn't until I started editing the book. I was like, oh, wow, this is this is the very first sign I received, and I didn't even know it. So they put everything on paper again, had me sign it, thumbprint it, and now we get back in the van. Okay, I'm like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning at this point. I'm like, I'd have been in custody all day. I've been working with y'all, I've been compliant, the energy's been good. I'm like, there's no way they're not taking me home at this point. So we riding, 30, 40 minutes pass, and we arrive at a facility detailed with tall walls and barbed wire. I was just like, damn, boy, we just getting started. So we enter the facility, walk into the nurse's office, do a quick physical. After that, take me to change my clothes, give me my official uniform. They gave me a Tupperware bowl and a plastic spoon, and took me upstairs to the second floor to where the men are housed. And we get to cell 209. And mind you, at this time, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. So we get, you know what I'm saying, CO unlocks the cell door. Instantly, my psyche is thrown at what I see. I see a huddle of bodies sleeping on wooden bunks. Across from in the book, I describe it as a slumber party. It looked like a slumber party. Like back in the day when we was kids, we had a sleepover, you know what I'm saying? We got to make room. That's what it looked like. So across from the slumber party are two inmates standing up against the wall, watching the rest of the inmates that are sleeping. They're wide awake, standing against the wall, watching them sleep. So with these individuals being the only individuals up, we make eye contact. And it's just this awkward moment of just confusion because the last thing they expected was to see this brother with dreads coming walking through the door. And the last thing I expected to see was two motherfuckers watching other people sleep. So it's just like, what's going on? Like, we just like.
Like two animals, like figuring each other out, like pacing
like,
around.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So I do a head count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Including me, it is 15 men in this cell. I count the beds at the wooden bunks that they're sleeping on. It's 9 wooden bunks. I'm like, well, that makes sense why it looks like a slumber party. Yeah, that explains that. All right. Now to the left of the cell is the bathroom. It's its own separate room, but the walls are made of glass so everybody in the cell can see inside of it. You got a sink, a squat toilet, so pretty much a hole in the ground that you squat over. And the shower ain't nothing but a water hose with a shower head duct taped to it. Black mold coating the walls. You got gnats and insects flying around. So it's not the most sanitary place, to say the least. So I approached the slumber party trying to find a spot to lay down. And one of the inmates that was up wakes 2 people up to make room for me, and they do. They had me set my bowl and my spoon in the cubbies that are up underneath the beds. So I just lay down on the bunk between 2 Chinese men with my hands on my chest staring at the bright light on the ceiling. And that's when reality fully kicked in. Like, yeah, boy, you in here. Don't know how long you're going to be in here. You don't know how this process works as far as the release. You don't even know how the jail operates. And nobody knows you're in here. Ain't no telling when you're going to be able to make contact with anybody. Hey, boy, it ain't looking too good. It's not looking too good. But
that's what I call a now what moment.
Like,
now what?
It's like, exactly. So it's like, damn, we in here, but at the end of the day, I gotta hold myself accountable. I can't blame nobody for me being in this position right now except me. So with that being said, it is what it is. I got to take this to the chin. Now, moving forward, what needs to happen for me to get on up out of here? All right, well, first thing first, people got to realize you're in here. All right, well, what needs to happen in order for that? Well, you were supposed to meet friends and colleagues at an event the day you got arrested and you didn't show up for. I'm sure they called you and you ain't answered. Is that a red flag? No, but it's weird. Now, you don't show up for your 8 o'clock classes for Saturday and Sunday. All hell is breaking loose because 1, they got to find somebody to cover your class last minute. And 2, one of the colleagues / friends I was going to meet at that event, me and her work at the same as at school. So I didn't show up to that event, and they call and I ain't answer. And I ain't showing up for work. They call and I ain't answer. Something is wrong. Yeah. Red flag. In addition to that, I had a girlfriend at the time that still lived in America that I talked to regularly. When I don't respond to 2 of her messages, that's another red flag. All hell's breaking loose. So I know I'm going to have to at least sit through the weekend before I become missing on people's radar.
Yeah.
So we're going to thug it till Monday, and then come Monday, hopefully the search for us will begin then. But till then, hey, hey, just sit back, sit tight. And pretty much what I just walked y'all through is first chapter and a little bit of the second chapter. So, and pretty much I'm locked up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 15 men to 1 cell, 9 wooden beds, 3 soups a day. All I had was that 1 Tupperware bowl and that 1 plastic spoon, 14 days straight.
Wow. Oh my gosh. This is amazing to think that, that you were still able to keep that mentality, to keep that, I'm sure at the moment you weren't like all laughing and joking about it, but I'm sure, from just learning from you in the last few minutes, I can see that your personality is like, you don't stress out too much. You just kind of take things as they come, and this is where we are. And I love that you said you get the signs, because I'm actually a medium, and I speak with spirit teams, which is your ancestors, your guides, and your
Mm.
guardians. And so I love that you said that, because I'm like, yeah, there's signs. There's definitely signs. But you handled it. Now, the thing I was thinking was, how do we get a hold of the embassy in this situation? And do they let you have a phone call to reach out to someone to get out of the situation? I mean, that feels helpless. That
Yeah,
feels,
so for the first 3 days, I'm the only foreigner, only English speaker in the cell. So I'm in there with 14 other Chinese men, none of which I could speak to. So it was a lot of reflecting the first 3 days, and each day is a chapter. So first 3 chapters is just me in my head and what I'm observing and just my perspective and take on it. Now on day 4, chapter 4, I moved to a new cell, and I'm amongst with 2 English speakers. One is a Chinese American from California, other one is Brazilian from Brazil, but they're both fluent in English and Mandarin. So now we can start connecting the dots as far as just how the jail operates and how the process works. I still don't know how long I'm going to be here though. But ironically enough, everybody else knows all their information to the I'm talking about to the fullest detail. I'm just the only one that don't know anything. So it's just like, so we can start connecting dots, but we still have no clue how long I'm going to be here. But it's a whole different shift in the story, because, like, you know what I'm saying, we can talk to somebody now, and not only can I talk to English speakers, but I can also communicate with the native inmates as well, because we have translators. So you get to learn about, you know what I'm saying, what they locked up for and just their background stories. And it's some interesting characters within the story, no cap.
Well, you went from being completely disconnected to finally being a little bit connected, and I say this like I'm thinking about our girl on the Mercury, the WNBA over there in Russia for the sinking pen, and we're talking months. It's ridiculous, but we do have to follow the rules, when we're going places. And so this is another area of, like you said, accountability. I shouldn't have done that, and I'm not in America where I have these freedoms. And I love that you're showing people that you're not making an excuse, and you're not judging that country either, because it's their rules. So so we know that you get out, and I don't want to do a spoiler on your book. So I really want everyone to get the book and find out, because this is a great lead up. So we know you get out. Now, do you stay at your job, or do you come right home here? And what did this teach you to where you are now?
For sure. So soon, like once I was released, they took me straight to the apartment to pack up the rest of my stuff, and then straight to the airport where I was deported from the country. Less than 6 hours of being released. So they got me on up out of there.
Wow.
So yeah, they got me on up out of there. Yeah. And placed me on a 5-year ban. So I can't go back to 2024. I mean, that's around the corner now, but back in 2019, I was like, man, that's a long, I really wanted to trip. I'm like, man, I got a full experience in China. All in 6 months. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing else I need to see, for real. So I came back to America, and now it's back to square one all over again. Like when football, so I played college football as well. So, you know what I'm saying? Once football came to an end, my senior year, I was like, damn, all right, bro, what's next? You know what I'm saying? What we finna do now? Who are you? What's next? What do you want out of life? Who do you aspire to be? But what do you even like doing? What's your purpose? Like, I couldn't answer any of these questions. I knew I needed to start somewhere. And it was a whole journey of me just applying for jobs for about 8 months, going through that whole interview process and not landing nothing, to finally landing something. And it just so happened to be on the other side of the world. Then me going out there, living my best life, falling on my face. Now I'm back home, and I'm back to square one all over again. So it's just really just been a position I've been in before. And it's just a trial of the mind, a test of resolve of the soul. How resilient are you? What you gonna do? How we gonna bounce back? How you gonna answer? So it's like, shit, you already gained. Well, it's better than versus when football ended, because when football ended, you ain't had no experience of anything. You just shooting your shot and hoping you make it. Now you have experience teaching, and not just teaching, but you was teaching in China. That is going to open up doors for you. So you need to continue to utilize that. So I'm still in education. I just fell into coaching football. That wasn't nothing I was like thinking about doing. Hey, bro, you trying to coach? Shit, I can for sure. So now I'm finna go into year 5 of me coaching football, high school football. Started, hey, bro, you should write a book about your experience. Damn, that's a good ass idea. I don't even know where to start, but that's a great idea. I started writing 14 Days in Beijing. So it's
Oh
like
my
and now I'm just
God.
falling in. Yeah, now okay, I can sit here and tell you a bunch of different all the things I do, and that list is pretty long. All the things I do now, all these hats I wear now. So it took all of that for me to find myself and my identity, to redefine myself, and to be in the position that I am now. You know what I'm saying? Land on this foundation with all these endeavors that I got going on. So yeah,
Yeah,
man.
no, I feel you. I totally feel you because that's how I kind of fell into where I'm at too. It was just all of a sudden someone said, hey Maureen, I had this dream and I saw this life coaching thing and it was you and I thought you should do this. And I'm like, what is this life coaching thing? And and I look up the definition of it and I'm like, well, hell yeah, I've been doing that my whole life. I might as well get paid for that.
On me.
I took a picture for my website, and my best friend at the time said, "Oh my gosh, I just had a vision that was on the cover of a book." And I went, "Oh, I guess I'm writing a book." So I totally connect with you. It's never what we think we need a plan. We're such planners as humans. It's like we need to just stop planning and overthinking everything and just like go with what feels good and what's presented. There's that Mel Robbins 5-second rule thing. I think that's amazing. If it comes to you, it's an intuition from your guides, from your spirit, whatever. It's saying, oh, this is the direction we'd like you to take. And I love that you said you just kind of fell into it. And what you fell into, though, Chancellor, is everything that you're good at, which is communication,
Yeah.
sports. You have a YouTube video. I saw a YouTube video, and you talk about the experiences or the lessons. I mean, that's life. That's the bigger school of everything is what you went through, what you got in China, best degree you're ever going to get in your life, right?
On me. No, for real. No, for real. So it was just a journey of just finding myself, and now just running these marathons. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to continue to get established, and just encouraging and motivating others to, you know what I'm saying, do the same thing, and just in their own specific way. Everybody ain't gonna be the same. You know what I'm saying? So your story gonna look different than mine, but at the end of the day, you still got a marathon you got to run. That's why we call this thing the marathon. I ain't gonna sit here and portray this ultimate poise like I've been had this shit figured out. I battle every emotion.
Yeah.
I battle every emotion behind what I'm getting after right now, and the only distinction quality between me and whoever else is finna go through this phase, or already went through it, or is going through it currently, is that you're not gonna quit.
That's right. That's right. And it's a daily thing in this life. I always say you're not going to be done until you're buried. And then
Know me.
you're still not done because you're infinity, but you'll be done in the physical body that you have now, but you're never going to be done. You are, going to live forever and ever and ever, whatever people's beliefs are. We are, energetic beings and we're an infinity. So I love that you say that. Now, are you doing sports coaching? Are you doing mindset coaching? What kind of things are you doing to motivate others?
So yeah, so of course, coaching football with to the teenagers. I'm also a tutor at elementary school. So I work with elementary for 3rd and 5th grade English, writing, and math. So I'm working with the babies in that. Got teenage boys in football. I'm also a life coach to at-risk teens. Fell into with this nonprofit that my former track coach has, and we pretty much work with teens in our county that got arrested for drugs or just doing crazy stuff. And we use 14 Days in Beijing as a part of our lessons to pull our life skills from. So that's just something else I fell into. Also own my own publishing company, which all my books are published through. And one of the services that we provide is an author/publishing coach. So anybody out there that aspires to be a writer or an author, you have an idea, a concept for a story, but don't know how to go about putting it on paper, or you've already written the whole story, but don't know how to go about publishing it, tap in with your boy. We can walk you through that, both either or process or both of them. Actually, I had a client last month who released his book. It's titled The Fatherless Child, and it was ranked the #1 new bestseller in 2 different genres. So yeah, y'all go tap in with that. The Fatherless Child by Anthony McKinney. It's a great, great read. It's just drama, crazy, crazy drama for sure. Yeah, great story.
Wow.
Um,
You got
so
your hand,
yeah,
you've got your hand in all kinds of fires. And I just I love that. That's being entrepreneurial. It's like I'm like you, I got like 4 businesses going on. I just tried the e-commerce thing. We've got a doggy boutique with doggy holistic treats and gifts. And I'm like, I've never done this product thing. Everything I've done
on
is
me,
service. But
on me.
I appreciate though you mentoring our youth because I currently have my 15-year-old grandson. He's had a very unhealthy upbringing. His father's locked up right now. And so I'm doing it as grandma and life coach saying, you know what, let's give you a good life. And he's a good kid. And I want him to stay that way where we're going to keep him on the right track so he doesn't go off track. But I think I find with him, and tell me if you find this, the teens that are, either at risk or just have had these struggles growing up, I have found they tend to be a lot more emotionally intelligent. Like I think they get things a lot sooner than I ever
Hmm.
did. I'm quite a bit older than you are. Definitely. I could probably be your mama, but I definitely was a late bloomer. I didn't find this stuff out till I was 45. And now to see my 15-year-old grandson, he just gets it. He's like, yeah, no, grandma, I'm cool. I'm not going to be like that. I'm
Yeah,
like, are you okay? Do you need it? No, I'm good, grandma. Like, okay. So what do you think? Do you think they're more advanced now as far
yeah,
as,
yeah, yeah. Even like seeing videos on YouTube and stuff, or not YouTube, just Instagram and all that other, like you see baby videos, like a lot of these young, I'm talking about new spirits, new to the world, but they're so conscious and they're so aware. Like you can just tell just by their actions and the behaviors, like, man, this baby done been here before. So yeah, I just feel like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Our ancestors are coming back through, you know what I'm saying, for another round, you know what I'm saying? But it's just through the, you know what I'm saying, new generations or the, you know what I'm saying, the generation to come. So yeah, I definitely feel we just, times are changing. These kids are a lot more aware, and then technology, you know what I'm saying, plays a major role in that as well. You know what I'm saying? You can access everything with this right here. So it's just like,
I
yeah,
know
these kids
they
is grown.
they start on these things at like one. Like my granddaughter was on an iPad when she was 1 years old. So I mean, I think I almost feel like, and from being in China, when you have sort of that technology advancement, I think it really does stimulate their brains a little bit more. And
Yeah,
there's maybe more there's a lot more logic, I think,
yeah.
where we were just kind of out in the backyard eating mud or making mud pies. I
I
mean,
mean,
we fast, but we've come around. That's why you see the older generation and the younger generation kind of meeting in the middle now. And I think millennials are I think millennials get a little bit stuck. And I know you're probably a millennial. You're probably
yep,
right in the middle of that where trying to figure out where do we fit in because there's so much stimulation, but yet you still want to know where do you belong and what's your purpose in this world. And because I have millennials, so I have a 32, 30, and a 24-year-old. So, trying to see them find their way in this world. And the cool thing is, you all are very much more aligned to what you want to do. And we
hmm,
were all about have to do. We have to
yeah.
do this. We're expected to do this. And I feel like you guys have maybe more drastic experiences that bring you to that purpose. What do you think? Do you see that in the world now?
It's just witnessing what took place before us.
Yeah.
Most people in my age range, like you said, millennials, we're going to do what we want to do. We ain't trying to do what my dukes and granddaddy and all them. We ain't trying to work the same job for 20, 30 fucking years just so we can get. No, we're not doing that. That's dead. That's how that way of living that's dying. That way of living is dying. It's a whole new type of time now. So it's like, yeah, we not on that. No, that's no.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It
I
worked for
think
y'all, but we
it
different.
did. No, it did not. It did not work for y'all Gen Xer here. I did. And, it's kind of like maybe we were the transition because I did work corporate for, 26 plus years. But then I started the business and then transition where I was able to quit corporate and have my businesses. So it's kind of like I think the transition, but I was always the parent that was like, I don't care what you're doing. If you're cleaning toilets, you give it 110% and you like what you're doing. That's all I care about. You like what you're doing. And my kids are starting businesses and in these businesses that they're passionate about. And I'm proud of that because my parents were never like, go do what you want to do, what makes you happy. In fact, they were the opposite. They were like, go get a job that has a 401k and medical, and that's it. Be happy and shut up. And in 40 years,
Yeah.
in 40 years, you can retire and do what you want. No, man. That so I think Gen X was sort of the cusp where we're pulling away, and then I'm taking credit. Look at how I'm taking credit for the whole entire generation. I think we gave you guys really more of that encouragement,
Facts. Definitely.
that
Definitely.
ability to say, you guys can do what you want. We were the
Definitely.
creators of timeouts and mental days. So let's just be real, where our parents were like, you want something to cry about? I'll give you something to cry about. But
All right. Hey, hey.
go get the Switch.
On me. On
I
me.
just think you're really, really amazing, Chancellor, and I think you're doing amazing things and bringing forth these lessons and these stories to help others and listeners. What Chancellor gave you today is that there is no situation that you can be in where you could be completely helpless and have a bad attitude, because Chancellor was able to sit there and just be like, hey man, between these two Chinese men and not speaking a language and don't know what my future brings, don't know what I just signed, don't know if I can get a hold of anybody. And you still were able to sort of stay in that place of peace. And that's the key to life. Whatever your external stuff is doing or what's going on around you, you got to stay in that place of peace in the
Mm.
moment. It doesn't mean we're not scared or we don't have feelings, but to
On me.
stay in that place of peace is what I learned from you today.
Yeah, that's what one of the one of the things my defensive coordinator in college used to always preach. Like, I can't allow what's going on the outside to affect how I feel on the inside. You know what I'm saying? Okay, it's early in the morning. Okay, you're tired. Bitch, who cares? We're all tired. Get your ass up and let's go to work. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, get over yourself. So for
That's
sure,
right.
yeah, definitely,
It's a
definitely.
choice every day. It's a choice how we feel. And, a lot of us don't feel like we have that choice. And I know that I didn't for the first half of my life. So, I think it's just the repetitiveness of, like you said, just like whether it's football or whether it's business, you just repetitiveness of saying, I get to choose today is what's really going to move us forward. Right.
On me, on
Yeah.
me.
So I always ask my guests, I have a new segment I'm doing now, but I feel like with you, I need to ask the old question. And the old question is, you're marching down, and we won't say China, we'll say Georgia. You're marching down Main Street in Georgia with 1,000 people behind you, and you're holding a banner. What does your banner say in one sentence of the change that you want to see in the world, or the change you're making in the world?
Mm.
I know, thought provoking, huh?
Yeah,
No
cause
one said this was going to be easy.
yeah. Cause one sentence, I'm like, man, man, that thing gonna have, man, some paragraphs on it, for real, for real.
Yeah. What would you tell a teenager in one sentence? Because teenagers don't like more than one sentence anyway. So, what's one sentence you
uh,
would say?
Adversity introduces a man to himself or a woman to herself.
I love it. Adversity introduces, I'll say us. As adversity introduces us to ourselves. That's great. It really does. It tells us who we really are. And it tells us who other people are too. Think
On
about
me.
it.
On
you
me.
know, when you see people at their worst, you really figure out who they really are. It's interesting. So to end it in a really fun note, I have a new segment thing that I'm doing, and it's called Take My Money. All right. And what this is weird things that you've either bought or you still buy or you've seen online. And I'll give you an example. I just saw a calendar and I wrote it down. And it's called, where did there's a calendar called, let me find it. Sorry. Oop, there it is. Um, Pooping Pooches. And it's a 2023 calendar, literally a calendar picture of dogs all going to the bathroom.
Mm.
$14.99. And then I saw a heart-shaped Lay's potato chip for sale on eBay for 99 cents. So there's my take my money moment. What have you got for me?
Um, Something crazy like that. Damn. I don't see how you could beat a heart-shaped Lay's chip. That's it. Like, what? That's crazy. Mm, Something outlandish. Oh,
What did they have in China that surprised you? What was a product
yeah.
in China that you saw that was like,
It wasn't. It wasn't even no product. So before QR codes was already popping in China in 2018, 2019, you know what I'm saying, before it became a thing out here. And it was such a thing out there that, say this homeless person walked up to you asking for some money. Like, oh man, I ain't got no change for you. They'll pull out their QR code and you can scan their QR code and send them bread.
oh my gosh, because they all had bank accounts that they could access?
Well, it's pretty much like they have one app. It's called WeChat. So WeChat is pretty much their version of WhatsApp. So it's a social media platform, but not only that, you could do just about everything on WeChat. You know what I'm saying? Pay for your house bills. You can buy tickets to games, or plane tickets, trade. Like you can do everything on this one app. So it was pretty much just like their major hub for everything. But with that being said, that was how they was able to keep track of what everybody was doing at the same time. So you see, you know what I'm saying, you peep game. But yeah, them folks, them host people they had QR codes. Like, damn, I ain't even got no change. There you go. But they both said they call you like, all right, bro, you got me. Like, I can't even get to you. Like, I said I ain't had no change. I ain't saying I had no money. I said I ain't had no change. Like, okay, I can see you.
Can't really say no when they come up with a solution for you, you know?
I'm telling you. I'm like, okay, for sure. You want this little change.
Crazy. All right, Chancellor. This is your moment to tell us where to find the book, where to find you, how to reach out to you, all of it. Give us everywhere that we can find you.
For sure. The best search engine we have up to date, Google Chancellor K. Jackson. Everything you need to pop up as far as my social media platforms, my website, chancellorkjackson.com, other interviews I've done, old football stuff. Yeah, so just Google my name, you'll find me. My books are available on Amazon as well as my website as well. And for those that don't really like reading, but you interested in going through the 14-day journey, I have the audiobook for 14 days available on SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. So you can listen to it, and I'm reading it and voice acting some of the characters. So y'all gonna enjoy that. And any aspiring authors out there, you know what I'm saying, that's trying to publish something, hey, boy, tap in with your boy for sure.
Yeah, come at them because I think everybody has a book in them. And I think Chancellor, if you connected with Chancellor today, he's your publisher. So come
For
at
sure.
him. And yes, you can find everything about Chancellor because Chancellor did not send in his questionnaire today. And so I had to go search him down myself. So there's proof of him hiding. He's hiding in plain sight. So I saw an ESPN article about Chancellor. So it's kind
Oh
of
wow.
it was kind of cool. Yeah, it had all your stats when you were playing college ball. So good for you. Thank you, my dear. I feel very connected to you, and I feel like we had a lot of threads that brought us together today. As I always know with each guest, I always say, there's an aha moment in here where there's a reason he's in front of me, and we found it today. I definitely feel that. So thank you, my friend. And you just take care, and listeners, go find him, go reach out to him, go comment, go get your book published, go get some coaching advice, all of it, all of it, all of it. So thank you, my friend, and we will talk with you soon.
For sure. I appreciate you for having